Good day, everyone. Welcome to the final session of the Daggerfall Catnip Farmer run. I think this is session 6. Mewsain Bolt has had a pretty nice run, all things considered. But he deserves a catnap, I think. Playing the game with him isn't as damn fun over a long period of time because of how powerful he is. He turned into a werewolf in the first session, which adds plus 40 to strength, agility, endurance, and speed. Hello, Dark. I'm Splendoroony. As a result, and this has certainly been prevalent in dungeons for, I don't know, most of this damn run, encounters with non-spellcasters in dungeons pretty much result in whap whap dead. Like that's how that goes. If not just whap dead. Spellcasters end up being the only ones that cause a bit of like excitement or tension. We didn't die last session, and the session before that, what was it, like the pincer from like the vampire, an ancient vampire? Not a whole lot. Mewsain Bolt has a lot of hit points, a lot of levels, and a lot of power to him for him to just quickly 1, 2, maybe 3-shot everything that stands in his way. As a result, like, that's not how I prefer to play this dungeon crawling RPG. We don't really have to worry about backpedaling or like running away. Like, speed in this essence doesn't become that critical for, like, the combat section because of how quickly we kill things, although it does help for moving around. Dungeons, if it's not been spellcasters, has been our biggest defeat, which is why I've been hesitant to do a lycanthrope run. Now that we have all witnessed the power of lycanthropy, I can't say we'll come back to that. Is it possible? Sure. After all, I ended up doing a lycanthrope run. Will it happen anytime soon? Who knows? I might be dead before then. So, there's that. Before I get too into the game, though, I want to spend this first bit discussing some lore. This is in response to a question that popped up last stream, that I didn't catch at the time, but caught later while clicking through the video. And that was from Arget Lampuppe, who asked whether I thought Lysandus was a compelling or boring character. In addition, for the comment, in the comment section for last video, I believe it was the Stonerification who made a quip of uncertainty about Lysandus' tomb. With that in mind, what I'd like to incorporate is some information a bit from the Daggerfall instruction manual, but primarily from the Daggerfall Chronicles. The Daggerfall Chronicles was the official strategy guide for the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall, advertised, as is the case in most strategy guides, in like the CD cover, and you ended up getting like a little free like guide through the Privateer's Hold. Now, I would suggest that the Daggerfall Chronicles act as an unreliable narrator, sort of like how the Elder Scrolls themselves act as they're portents, but the Oracle never provides you, unless it's Grimith, a precise play-by-play of what's going to happen. And sometimes the Oracle can be wrong. In this particular case, the strategy guide is a bit it's inaccurate compared to the game itself. And it's kind of like, what do you take as the more reliable narrator? Your, encounters within the game, or the strategy guide? It's not so inaccurate as, a guide for, a strategy game. Whatever. I think I misspoke there. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So, there's that. So, what I will say to you, you can take with a grain of salt, and perhaps that will color your perception of Tamriel, specifically this region in which Daggerfall takes place. Perhaps it'll just be food for thought for you. And this is a lore section I thought worth doing, and this will probably end up taking, for those of you watching locally, if you're not interested, 15 minutes. Maybe a bit longer, so you can skip ahead. And I can use the game as like a bit of like a graphical reference, but right. So it's worth covering Tamriel as it exists in this current situation. The Empire is a bit unstable right now, what with the events of the Elder Scrolls Arena just having transpired, in which the character there defeats Jaggerthorn, the Usurper, the motherfucker who's trying to take control of this whole shit, and basically reinstalls the Imperial power. But it's still a bit shaky, and it's been on the decline for some years prior. To offset this, to fix this, the Emperor has had his secret agents, the Blades, as they existed before Morrowind, even they were called the Blades, working on finding the pieces of the Numidium, which is the giant fucking golem that the Empire used to beat the shit out of everyone back in the day, when the Empire formed. Such as it was. Zurin Arctis was involved, but Zurin Arctis also broke apart Numidia. And the Blades have been working, searching all of Tamriel to find the little separate pieces to put them back together, and they're almost done with that. But they're missing the Mantella, which is the heart of the golem, which, amusingly enough, is also fucking required to pie the thing. It's not like they could be missing, like, a fucking hand, right? Or, like, a foot, and the golem just fucking hops across Tamriel. No! It's the fucking heart of the thing, of course, right? Now, turns out that Nulfaga, who is King Lysandas's mom, she's a powerful fucking sorceress. And she learns the location of the Mantella. And she sends a fucking magic message to the Emperor saying, hey, I'll tell you where this is, but you gotta help my son. You gotta keep him in power. You gotta be a bro to your friend, Lysandas. Emperor's like, I don't fucking take shit from anyone because I'm the motherfucking Emperor. Fuck you! And so he begins to write a letter. More on that in a bit. Look over the Iliac Bay, and for the purposes of this, Grimith will shrink himself as he pulls out the map of the Iliac Bay. Provided that the game loads it in a timely fashion. So, a bit before the start of the game, you have effectively the three kingdoms that oversee the High Rock and Northern Hammerfell region. That would be, of course, Daggerfall. Let me remove the text as well. Yes, Shu, Wei, and Wu. You have Daggerfall, you have Wayrest, and you have Sentinel. Now, these kingdoms operate with a degree of autonomy, and a significant degree of autonomy, in large part because the Empire can't enforce anything other than that. Like, boy, would the Emperor love more control over his lands, and be able to basically invoke council privileges, invoking like Crusader Kings 2, to stop infighting among his vassals. But he can't. Orsinium is not a kingdom, as of the time area, but it is an area. Gortwog and his orcs, his tribes, are a very powerful presence on the map, which is threatening Wayrest considerably, which is why they're focusing internally on defending themselves against orcs and pirates, like within this area. Now, the court of Daggerfall has King Lysandas, Queen Minnesera, you have Prince Gothred, you have Medora, who's there acting as like a chief, like magical advisor alongside Nulfaga. She's there in Castle Daggerfall as well. Queen Minnesera, as is the case with much royalty, has a lady-in-waiting who like handles like messages for her before delivering them to the queen, and you know, takes care of other like sort of affairs. And that's Lady Magnesson, Lady Briciniana, Lady Bree, as I call her, who is actually in secret an agent of the Blades. Now, when the Emperor writes his fucking dick pics and sends them to Queen Mewsain, he codes it with messages that are meant for the Blades, so that when Lady Bree, who is Queen Mewsain's lady-in-waiting, gets the message before delivering it to the Queen, Bree will realize that the message is actually for her. But it's all disguised as if it's actually for Queen Mewsain. It just so happens that the motherfucking delivery man doesn't know all that, was told to deliver it to the Queen of Daggerfall, which isn't the Queen of Daggerfall by the time the message arrives. Because it gets passed on from like one person to another person, and then it gets to Castle Daggerfall. So there's the explanation behind that note. But it's important to cover why Daggerfall and Wayrest end up going to war with each other, which they do. And it ends up being over this piece of trash right here, Bettany. The Lord of Bettany ends up swearing fealty to Lysandus in Daggerfall. Sentinel thinks this is absolute trash. King Cameron has his fucking legal team go through like imperial precedents, finds like a 200-year-old casus belli, and declares war on Daggerfall, basically for control over Bettany. Now, both sides have advisors saying this is a bad fucking idea. In Daggerfall, you have Medora and Nilfgaard who are saying this is bad. This promises doom and gloom. Nothing good will come over this. It's just Bettany. Let it the fuck go. And King Cameron in Sentinel has his own advisors saying the exact same thing. They have some skirmishing, they have some battling, but nothing like too significant happens, and there ends up being like the potential for peace talks. Like they end up like brokering some peace, but it's a priest of Daggerfall who think like Daggerfall, like Kynareth, of course, is the premier goddess of Daggerfall. This motherfucking priest thinks that Bettany is like a holy site for like Kynareth, and he pretty much sabotages the whole thing. The peace treaty turns into a fucking bloodbath, which pretty much swears internal vendetta and canly between Daggerfall and Wayrest, the Sentinel, until this shit's resolved. Wayrest, neutral party, staring at orcs, staring at pirates, and also dealing with their internal machinations. You have Princess Elisana, who comes across as a bit of a dunce. Then you have Prince Helseth, who's kind of a manipulative dick, and the people don't really like him. And then you have Princess Morgaya, who doesn't want to be ruler of Wayrest. So they're dealing with their own, like, internal politics, and really in this game, like, when you go visit Wayrest to deal with the nobility there, it's just like this internal fucking cyclone of, like, people having knives at each other's throats. Like the manipulation of Lord Castellian, for example. Lord Woodbourne is the commander of the Wayrest military, and he wants to be king of Wayrest. He's in a relationship with Princess Elisana, and he wants to secure her winning that. And to do that, he wants allies, such as with Daggerfall. But Lord Woodbourne hasn't been able to secure anything. Yet. So, fast forward a bit to the Battle of Cryn Gainfield, which ends up being the decisive fight between Daggerfall and Wayrest. Nilfgaard, by this point, has retreated to Shedunjit in the Hrothgarian Mountains. No one is really listening to her in court. Nilfgaard just says, "Fuck this, I'm out," and she leaves. Medora is close to being on her way out, because Mewsain figures out about the affair. It's at this point that Daggerfall Chronicles suggests that Lysandus wants out. And the letters that we find that Queen Mewsain burned later on after Lysandus died suggest this. That Lysandus wants to stop being king. He wants to spend the rest of his life living with Medora in her own castle, where they can forget about all of their worries and cares and concerns and just be with each other for the rest of their lives. He wants out. But this is kind of like a situation where it's like, when I go out, I don't want anyone to come after me. Like, I want people to think I'm gone, so that I can just live this simple life with her forever. And he's like, maybe I can orchestrate a plan here. Gothred wants his dad to be happy, and perhaps a bit too eagerly. Prince Gothred's like, Dad, get this. What if we fake your death at the Battle of Cringane Field? Then you can go be with Medora. Forever. Lysandus is like, shit, that's a great idea. How the fuck do we do that? Gothred says, let me introduce you to my friend, Lord Woodbourne of Wayrest. So, Lord Woodbourne and King Lysandus meet. Lord Woodbourne has a noble friend who's like an impoverished noble living just outside of Wayrest. And this guy and Lysandus swap clothes. By the way, impoverished noble doesn't know what the hell is going to happen to him in this, so that the impoverished noble looks like King Lysandus, and Lysandus looks like some fucking impoverished noble from Wayrest. And then they go their fucking separate ways. The impoverished noble, like, you know, like, dons all the royal, like, heraldry and, like, the equipment and shit, and is prepared to fight in the Battle of Cringane Field. And, you know, Lysandus is left to, like, joke and reflect on, like, his life. Because he and Lord Woodbourne are, like, you know, having talks and discussions, and Woodbourne's like, I mean, what are you gonna do with your life? And Lysandus is like, well, I mean, if I get bored being in the castle, I might just sneak back to Daggerfall and talk to Gothred a bit, you know? But no one will know who I am. I'm really done with royal life. I just want to be with my love. So, Battle of Cringane Field happens. Supernatural fog fucking descends on the battlefield. I think this is caused by Nulfaga. Basically, she's trying to sabotage this fight from happening. Like, fuck this shit. None of you will be able to see each other. You all can go suck dicks. Now, in the confusion, the battle still happens in the supernatural fog. Prince Gothred, who is well-liked by the army, who has fought well, he's popular, takes it's like a bow or like a crossbow from, like, Sentinel's armory, and shoots the imposter, who's his father. No one figures out it was him in the fog. So the imposter, who everyone thinks is King Lysandus, is dead. The fight between Daggerfall and Sentinel happens. One of the Lords of Daggerfall slays King Cameron on the battlefield. Daggerfall wins the Battle of Cringane Field. In the aftermath, Prince Gothred rapidly consolidates power, becomes king, offers generous peace terms to Sentinel. To the extent of, like, we won't pursue this shit anymore. We're having Bettany, though. And, by the way, I want Abiki's hand in marriage. Which could be seen as, like, a way to heal this shit, or also as, like, she's being held hostage by Daggerfall to ensure that Sentinel doesn't try any more shit. And Queen Acherithy is like, fucking fine. Fine. So, that happens. Back to Lysandus, who's frolicking in the fucking wilderness with Lord Woodbourne. Lord Woodbourne's like, hold on, dude. I got an emergency. I'll burp. Walks away. And he tells orcs who are with him, led by Gortwog, to murder Lysandus. Now, these orcs are... allied might be a strong word, but they have an understanding with Lord Woodbourne. Gortwog wants, of course, power. He wants a recognized kingdom. He wants, like, a future for his people. And Lord Woodbourne's like, I'll do you a solid. Especially whenever I become king of Wayrest. But you gotta help me out. And Gortwog, because, I don't know, whatever the fuck, Gortwog's like, cool, we got this, we'll help you. So they murder Lysandus. They don't just murder him, they absolutely butcher his corpse. Just shredded to itty fucking bitty pieces. And Lord Woodbourne's like, I could probably still make use out of this body. So he takes a nearby catacomb, and he stuffs the body there. Which answers the questioning behind, like, where the hell is Lysander's buried? Now, is it possible that after these events, that Gothrid may have, like, built another tomb for his father? Genuinely, I don't know at this point. Like, it's suggested, like, in there's unreliable dates. It's up to you, like, Gothrid may not know where his dad is buried. Because Lord Woodbourne might be keeping it as some sort of fucking backup plan. Basically, like, at some point if Gothrid betrays Lord Woodbourne, he might be like, motherfucker, plotted against his own dad. Like, here's the official body as proof. Like, you can go suck a dick, Gothrid. Go fly a kite. Whatever the hell, right? King Gothrid. That's right. So, King Lysandus, as is the case with all members of a royal family, when they're killed, they're buried in special coffins with blessed armor that soothes the spirit and prevents it from resting uneasily, so it can have a nice journey into the afterlife. Orcs didn't give a fuck about that. Orcs absolutely mutilated that corpse, the body, and it got stashed in someone else's fucking tomb. Hey, Chaos. We're going over a bit of Daggerfall lore right now. And Lord Woodbourne, you know, he's a bit nervous about Gothrid, like, betraying him, which is why he's, like, keeping, like, the body and, like, some other machinations in effect, but that doesn't apparently happen. The two of them are friends. In the aftermath of Lysandus' death, Queen Mewsain completely banishes Medora from court, and pulls some strings of her own, and curses, like Doreni Tower, so that Medora can't escape it. Of course, King Lysandus' spirit does not rest easily. He, along with an army of his loyal soldiers in the form of ghosts and wraiths, haunts his capital city at the Day of the Dead anniversary, calling for vengeance. There are many citizens who initially try to stand up to this guards, who fight bravely, are killed quickly, and join that army of ghosts and wraiths. Now, Lysandus crying for vengeance upsets Medora, who's locked away in her tower and can do nothing. Upsets Nulfaga, drives her fucking insane. Nulfaga just loses her fucking shit in Shedungeon, and doesn't regain her shit until you put Lysandus to rest. Which actually does happen in game. She doesn't regain her shit until you put Lysandus to rest. And the people in Daggerfall start to doubt and suspect King Gothrid. Because Lysandus is crying for vengeance, they're like, maybe Gothrid's responsible. So King Gothrid begins to lose public favor. Also, because the fucking capital city is haunted. Kinda hurts commerce, trade, and diplomacy, really everything a bit, when you can't resolve this fucking problem. So, there's that. Enter the player character. The Iliac Bay is a complete clusterfuck right now. Gortwog gets the letter intended for Queen Mewsain, which is actually intended for Lady Bree, from Sindasa. Sindasa, who becomes the new, like, lady-in-waiting for the Queen Mother Mewsain. Finds the note. Actually, she might end up being, like, the lady-in-waiting for Queen Abuki as well. Because Abuki gets the letter, and is like, what the fuck does this mean? Like, I don't fucking trust this bitch anymore at all. And hides it away. Sindasa finds it, reads it, sells it to Gortwog. Gortwog prints out 57 bajillion fucking copies. Sells it all across the Iliac Bay. Because Gortwog ultimately, again, wants his kingdom. And he thinks greater instability will help him get his kingdom. Not entirely wrong. Wayrest continuing to do its fucking internecine fight, Sentinel recovering after having lost the war, and Daggerfall being haunted by King Lysandus. The player character ends up acting as an agent of the Blades. Emperor's like, You know, like, the Emperor, like, takes a shine to him, is basically like, hey, so, my good friend, King Lysandus, he was a loyalist to the Empire, he's dead. And he's haunting his own capital. And I want to know why. Also, by the way, there's a completely irrelevant and unimportant letter that I wrote for Queen Minnesera, who is Queen Mother now. But if you could find out what happened to that very sentimental and personal note, which is wholly irrelevant, and destroy it, that'd be really awesome. Okay? Off you go. And so the player character, armed with this knowledge, gets on a little boat and heads for Daggerfall. Of course, the boat is promptly hit by a supernatural storm. Very bizarre. Nearly dies, but just barely manages to swim into a little cave, where the supernatural storm causes a cave-in. That, of course, is Privateer's Hold. Right there. What causes the supernatural storm of bizarre and epic proportions that only hits like an isolated area? But, it's possible that word may have gotten out about what the Emperor had sent this agent to do, and someone may not have wanted him to learn that much. So, to answer Argentland Puppet's question in light of that, I do think Lysandus is an interesting character. I don't think he's boring. I don't find him that compelling, in part because, well, we only see him briefly through, like, a spectral form, when he's like, I want my fucking vengeance, and this is how, like, you can give me my vengeance. I'm not looking for, like, being soothed. My life was robbed from me. I was betrayed. I was taken away from my true love. Motherfucker. This is how you're gonna fix this shit. It's funny that Lysandus' spirit would not have haunted Daggerfall, though, had Lysandus received a proper burial. But because the orcs butchered him, he was haunting the city, which is what prompts the Emperor to, like, to send, you know, this agent anyway. Other question, of course, from the Stonerification ended up being, like, who built the damn tomb? Because they suggested it might have been the orcs. Like, it could have just been a repurposed burial site. Lord Wood, that they fucking cleared out. Lord Woodbourne's like, stick his body in there. It'll be fun. No one will fucking figure it out. But of course, the Underking figured it out. The Underking's current location is somewhere in High Rock. The Underking, of course, is on the box art for this game. And that is Zurin Arctus. He's not immobile right now. He's slowly regaining power. But he still has agents in the area. And when Numidium is brought to power, when the Mantella is retrieved and thrust into Numidium, Zurin Arctus, the Underking, actually regains his power. In most of the endings for the game, he does reclaim his heart. Now, if you give it to him directly, he creates, like, a fucking super anti-magic zone, as he just, like, completely, like, returns his heart to him and finally has death. Obviously, you can give the totem, and thus control over Numidium, to the Emperor. The Emperor will use the Numidium to beat the shit out of High Rock and Hammerfell. Basically, like, all of you little shitty countdoms and, like, fiefdoms and ducals and kingdoms, all of you dumb bitches. Wow. And High Rock and Hammerfell basically just get entirely annexed into Tamriel. They cease to be, like, separate entities. Giving the totem, and thus control over Numidium, to Daggerfall, Sentinel, or Wayrest, causes them to be the dominant power in the region. Sentinel and Wayrest will exist to a smaller degree, but the kingdom with control over it basically just takes over most of the region. Which further serves to weaken the Empire, because now there's a bigger and stronger neighbor, which is technically under them, but, you know, they're still independent. Sort of like a vassal situation. Of course, which, with a high degree of autonomy, If you give it to Gortwog, Gortwog eats, like, this whole, like, northeastern chunk and forms the Kingdom of Orsinium. You know, allowing, like, orcs to be an established part over Tamriel. Like, Daggerfall ends up being over here, Wayrest ends up getting punted over, like, over here, and Sentinel's still down here. And in the official ending, the Warp in the West, of course, all of these kingdoms and the Empire have control over Numidium simultaneously somehow, because that's the Warp in the West. No one's entirely sure what happens there. Basically making it so that Daggerfall, Wayrest, Sentinel, and Orsinium are the 4 powers here. The Underking eventually will end up reclaiming his heart at that point, having his death, and the King of Worms ends up ascending to Apotheosis. Now, if you just give the heart to the King of Worms, in this game, the Underking has no chance to reclaim his heart, and he is cursed into his unliving existence. King of Worms uses it fully and completely, becomes a god. The end. So, there you go. There's that nugget of information, of wisdom, a mastication, a summary and paraphrasing from the Daggerfall Chronicles, which, as I noted, is the official strategy guide for Daggerfall. And again, you can take that information and use it to interpret the game's events and however you see fit. Just note that there is quite a bit of lore to Daggerfall. Like, they intended so much to be behind the scenes there, and bits of pieces of it to only show, like, only ever show a bit, if it. Like, you don't get the full picture because your character is just this agent who can't know the full schemes and machinations of these various nobles. And it's not until the very end of the game when all of this becomes clear to the player character. Like, there's a Totem of Tiber Septim, which is used to control a giant golem that is almost fully rebuilt. And, Lysandus' death is caused by Lord Woodborn, who's a Wayrest lord who was in alliance cahoots with King Gothred. You know, that Nulfaga can actually be sane for once in her life. You know, shit like that. There you go. Story time is done. There's a lot more detail to be had, covering not just, like, the events of this game, as you, like, accomplish the various quests, like storyline, like brushovers and flavoring, which does happen in some strategy guides, which I do find enjoyable, but also, like, more like the prelude stuff, and even before, like, the pre-Daggerfall, like, era. You can find more of that in the Daggerfall Chronicles strategy guide. But yes, the orcs are not an official part of Tamriel. They're pretty much seen as monsters. You know, fucking hated greenskins who, like, raid settlements. They're a thorn in the sides of, like, kingdoms. Who cares about orcs, right? Okay. So, finally, we look at Mewsain Bolt here. The Khajiit Catnip farmer who became an agent of the Blades, who became a werewolf, who became one of the most powerful entities in all of Tamriel. He's doing pretty well for himself, despite his face. We don't have that much left in the game. All we have to do is deliver the Totem of Tiber Septim to someone. I suppose. All we have to do is deliver the Totem of Tiber Septim to someone, and then retrieve the Mantella from the final dungeon of the game. Because Nulfaga's like, alright, at this point you might as well fucking do this. Now, as I noted before story time, Mewsain Bolt, really fucking powerful. He would actually be more powerful, I would suggest, if we had put these points in intelligence into willpower. Because ultimately those spell points didn't, and still don't, make much of a difference, whereas willpower could help with magic resistance. But that's pretty irrelevant. He's too fucking powerful. Which is why I'm alright with this game ending. We're also carrying a lot of change on hand, because of course we are. So, it's up to us now to decide, well, up to me, to decide where it is that we're going to be delivering the Totem of Tiber Septim. And I actually think we're going to be delivering this one to the Underking. And this ends up being because Mewsain Bolt doesn't really care about politics or machinations. He's also not particularly loyal to the Empire. You know, he kind of feels misinformed. Underking seems like he's been a bro in all of this. So it's going to be going to the Underking. King of Worms, like, no. Besides, we've already given it to the King of Worms. This last playthrough. So, the Underking. Zurin Arctus. Like, he just wants to go back to his nice life. Although, Mewsain Bolt can't really go back to his nice life anymore, because much has changed since he was a simple catnip farmer. By the way, there's our little totem baby. It's adorable. Stick the book in the wagon. We'll keep wearing that. No, I suppose it's time for more formal clothes. There we go. Needed to take the straps off. You could stop being a werewolf. There is an opportunity to pursue a cure for that, as there's an opportunity to pursue a cure for vampirism. So no. Not for you, not for Akarithe, not for Gortwog, but for the Underking. We'll be awaiting, well, his loyal agent will be awaiting our arrival in Wayrest, the silent altar of Akatosh. Yes, you certainly can. Silent altar of Akatosh. Let's go. Yes. Well, we'll take the extra day. So, orcs kind of want the totem, you know. Kind of want to have the whole kingdom thing, you know. They get nothing. Oh, there's a Daedric Mace there. You know, we can carry we can find the room for a Daedric Mace, right? Ooh, nice gold piece count. Really, you know, I think we might loot a few more things as well, even if we never sell them. We want to keep Mewsain Bolt, like, his spirit of, like, collecting shit in heart, right? Let's see, he's a catnip farmer. He's gonna build himself a wonderful, like, giant farm where he just harvests catnip for the rest of his days and nothing bad happens to him. He also may like shiny things, yes. Oh. King of the Worms is like, hey, buddy. Hey, I can make you famous. Yeah. Don't you want the Dark Brotherhood to like you again? I can make that happen. You can have plus 150 a rep with them. Huh? I'll make you famous, baby. Mewsain's like, I don't want to be famous. Just want to be a simple fucking catnip farmer. No. I don't want to be famous across all of Tamriel. Don't want to know who I am. I'm done. The Underking will be most pleased. He has searched many lifetimes for this lost item. I have been instructed to give you this object. Use it wisely. Should you ever locate the Mantella, the Underking would be most appreciative. Oh, and by the way, Nilfgaard calls us the phone head. Also, the phone head? Pananning. Good work, repeating the same poor decision. Nilfgaard, no longer insane. I see that the totem has found its way into the hands of some of royal blood. I think it is time you paid me another visit here in She Dungeon. Mewsain Bolt, your work is not yet done. There would be lore for the Dark Brotherhood, but I'm not particularly versed in that to give you, like, a nuanced description. That'd be something that you'd want to, say, read, like, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, like Wiki for. Okay. So, in exchange for what we did, we have been rewarded with the Necromancer's Amulet. The legendary Necromancer's Amulet, the last surviving relic of the mad sorcerer Manny Marco, grants any spellcaster who wears it the ability to regenerate from injury and absorb magicka. The bearer also becomes wise beyond his years. This artifact is popular amongst mages. It is the one flaw of the amulet that is unstable in this world, forever doomed to fade in and out of existence, reappearing at locations distant from that of its disappearance. Troll's blood and wisdom. Yes! Yes, yes! Which makes, I think, this Necromancer's Amulet, one of the reasons why I selected it, interesting. This is the last surviving relic of the mad sorcerer Manny Marco. The King of Worms is Manny Marco. Which would lead to suggest that there's more of interest with the King of Worms than we discover in this game, and that there's more of interest between the King of Worms and the Underking than we're shown in this game. Now, tying into that pananning, the game, the lore of the universe has wiggle room for multiple Manny Marcos. One, of course, appears at Oblivion. One, of course, is purported to be the King of Worms, who achieves apotheosis, and there ends up being, like, a fragment of his apotheosis, like some sort of fucking moon thing that, like, lingers. I'm not as too well-versed in lore after... Like, Morrowind's already where it gets hazy. Anyway. We're actually going to be wearing the Necromancer's Amulet for the rest of the game. Won't even bother taking it off. We'll also just use the new Daedric Daggerfall for the rest of the game. And stick all these wonderful things in the wagon, because we need Daedric shit to have in our new life. It'll help us buy a great farm. The conversation about Manny Marco has come up, you know, like, towards the end of most of my Daggerfall runs. And basically, it's just like the whole, like, Warp in the West, like, thing, like, And as far as I'm concerned, it ends up being, like, a mix of, like, unreliable sources. Like, are there multiple Manny Marcos? Do people just, like, are there, like, avatars of Manny Marco after, like, the King of Worms ascended to be a god? Like, have there just been, like, a repeating succession of Manny Marcos? Does he just have, like, simulacrums or, like, clones or shit? Yes, Manny Marcos. Nicely done. Also, I changed my key mapping a little bit. I have to remember how I changed it now. I moved my spellbook key. I had originally had it set to, like, backspace, but I've now moved it to F. And I do believe I moved my levitate keys as well. Go ahead and use my... To see how comfortable I feel with them, yeah. I've moved them to 2 and 3 now, instead of being, like, their default, like, page up and page down. This is so that I can keep one of my hands, like, on the mouse while I'm, like, looking around and shit. By default, the control mapping in this game is not too terribly convenient. Obviously, it came before a time where WASD ended up taking over for the up-down, up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow. And hell, you can even turn up, like, by default, view-based movement ain't on. Like, it's cursor-based movement. So that you end up having, like, your mouse doesn't, like, control where you look and shit. So, there's that. That's my current control configuration, by the way. Some folks ask me this question, which is why I'm going over it right now. Because they look into playing Daggerfall themselves, and they're like, what the fuck are these controls? Mewsain does have you kill a lycanthrope who... I just pressed page down to, like, float down. I'm, like, too used to it. Does have you kill a lycanthrope to get Mewsain's ring. Now, lycanthropy would not be as powerful or useful if we did not have Mewsain's ring, of course. Now that's interesting. The Necromancer's Amulet is supposed to increase wisdom. However, the number I'm seeing fortified here is intelligence. Not wisdom, willpower. Actually, you know, I'm not entirely sure. What does the specific text say? Wisdom. I guess that doesn't say willpower. I guess the closest thing pertaining to that would be intelligence. That was a misremembering on my part. Stand corrected. In that case, it's another argument for why we didn't need to increase intelligence that high. We have a whopping 50 maximum spell points to our name now. Woohoo! Hey, Dolfaga. How's it going? How you doing? Only crowned heads will hold the totem true. First is one who killed but did not kill another. Second is one who is too devoured by its young. Third is one who made one slave and many free. Fourth and fifth are two who compete for mud. Sixth is one who brings a home to the homeless. Seventh is one who lords all, but does not lord it all. I do not know who of these seven is most worthy of the power, for too long have I let my passions make me mad. Sometimes the fate of a world hangs on the decision of one person. You have chosen who will command Great Numidium. You bear the burden for the consequences. I send you now to the Mantellan Crux, the safeguarded prison of the Mantella. Dolfaga, the only person who knows this. Look for a green jewel of unusual size. Merely touch the Mantella and it is freed. You'll be transported back to my side. Worth noting, by the way, that the Underking, one of the Underking's powers is basically knowing the fate and, like, location of anyone of, like, royal blood, which is how he knows where Lysandus is buried. But the motherfucker can't find, like, this, right? She could also, like, one of the ways to resolve Lord Woodbourne is to find, like, incriminating notes and deliver them to Dolfaga, who pretty much smites the motherfucker with magic. Just from her location, just fucking kills him. Just I know, right, Deoxyrambo? As pan-anning notes. And so, here we are, once again. It's been, what, 3 weeks? We're back here. Let's make it good. God damn it, I pressed my normal key. Excuse me? The Daedric Seducer was hitting me. I felt drained, everyone. Bitches. Doesn't really hurt me, though. It's gonna take me forever to get used to these new keys. Not forever, but it's gonna take me a bit to get used to them. I know, how rude, right? Now her body can float there. In the ether for all of eternity. I think I forgot which door it was again. I think it's the west door. Sure do, pan-anning. Don't be opening all my doors. Not that one. South door? We'll see. Silly Grimith. Okay, no, that barrier's still there. Is it this door? Was it this door? It was this door. Motherfucker. That should not be hurting me. Maybe these doors, none of them govern what happens up there. We have a pickle. There is a pickle, and we got it. Maybe it happens what controls what happens up there? South. Up we go. Okay, pressing the speed button does not make levitating happen any quicker. That is tragic. Son of a bitch. I remember which door it is usually. I remember which door it was first try last time. God damn it. This door deals damage. It makes me sad. North door? See, I don't know whether, like, the Frost Daedra fucking with the doors actually ends up, like, influencing the switches, or whether it's the player character. No, not that. You know what? I have an idea. We start the dungeon over. Not only do I do that, but I check a thing. So that I can quit wasting my fucking time. All I want to know is which motherfucking door is it? South door. Got it. Not hostile towards me. Either that or didn't see me. Pretty sure it saw me. Alright, that's still open. Maybe this lever I need to flip. Funny. I had an easier time with this with Ursilia than I'm having right now. It's only been 3 weeks, Grimith. Kinda makes me a little worried about what else I forgot. I guess we'll find out together. It wouldn't be as bad if Levitate was a little bit quicker in this game. But this can't be sped up. You just slowly rise. And when these rooms are as tall as this, Okay. Maybe I was just looking at the wrong door the entire time. Never looked at the wrong door before. Is my levitate gonna break? Right there at the end. Well, there are, like, items, like, there are, like, statues and shit that do give you levitate. But it's, like, a one-use thing. Limited time offered. Wait, this isn't right. This isn't the right room at all. What? This isn't a curveball. This is a Grimith ball. I've done this dungeon plenty of times. I went into the wrong section. This door that I was looking at originally that I thought was correct is still correct. I just have to remember how the hell to open it. We flip that switch. Back down we go. God damn it. There's a lever at the bottom that controls the elevator. See, normally you're supposed to use a fucking elevator around here. Well, at least like in this section, you can use an elevator around here. I'm like, south door? I'm facing south. I think he is hostile. Maybe. He's just also floating in it. Whatever, you know. You do you, Frost Daedra. Not entirely sure what's going on there, buddy. Could I speed up the left? I mean, I guess you could do that. You could try that. I'm not fighting the cycles. You're out of your damn mind. You guys can have that room. No more funnies. We're at a point now where I've appeared to have forgotten this entire first section. This is discomforting, to put it mildly. Why I bothered to fight you without activating any of my spell reflection or save shit? I don't know. What? Just that. Wait. That's not a matter. Bethesda does not control DOSBox emulation. And at some point, I'm tired of everyone just fucking burying and setting Bethesda on fire. Bethesda equals bug equality. Wait. So I just lose my fucking patience and tolerance for it. Bethesda's not fucking responsible for every single fucking bug or problem with this fucking game. Almost all of them, yes. But in the emulation of it, no. I love how the keys I've changed have actually ended up fucking with my brain. I'm too used to the old configuration. Stop laughing. I'm gonna take your heart. Not looking forward to the fire god. Let's speed this up a little bit. Whee! Wait. Alright, benefactor time. Grimith, can you remember this? Feeling brave tonight? How brave? Alright, we're levitating, so we don't move down with the elevator. My bad. Thought that would actually be quicker, you know? That's the fire god, Pentarlong. Hello, Gargoyle. No, I see you, buddy. Stop that. They run out of magic. Brrr. Motherfucker paralyzed me. Fixed. It is can lava. Fucking warp phenomenon are we about to fucking see? Well, shit. Save wasn't that far back. It's reasonable headcanon, I think. It wouldn't be so bad if you, just as the caster, had the freedom to cancel, like, when you're, basically, like, choose when your spell stop working. Like, if I could fucking cancel my levitate, and then just reactivate it, that'd be great. But I can't. And it makes things a little tedious. Let's go. Grimith, the Explorer. Grimith, the Explorer. Don't you make random noises at me, dungeon. I don't even care about you this time, Gargoyle. You're dead to me. Nope, no one loves you. Ancient Vampire doesn't even fucking notice me. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Well, yeah, this is section 2. Oh, you see me now, too late. Da, 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 da. It'd be some shit if my shirt broke. What are you ad-leaping, long shirt? Almost new. Alright. It's like the moment I had that epiphany, I was like, ooh. 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 That's not good. I think this is a levitate thing to get you to this door. I was also crouching that entire time. Hey, buddy. We're gonna try both spellings. And hopefully I'll never have to come back here again. The music in this game is really enjoyable, yes. We're going to save up here and then begin the What do you control, Benefactor? We can check that. It's possible that the Benefactor doesn't control that top door. I don't remember which all these things control which door. Huh. 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 Well, now I'm confused about what happened during the linguist run then. Whatever. We won the game. Well, not this time. We will. Wait. No value in doing that other than just killing him. He's a dick. It's worth it, though. Alright, this section's pretty easy. It's got some shit to distract you, but we won't be wandering around. Also, I'm glad Levitate wore off, so I can actually run down these stairs. Hooray. I've forgotten the doors. Alright, this one has a box over it, which I don't think it's supposed to, so I need to check out the other one. You put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. Babe. I got you, babe. Don't get stuck in the fucking door frame, you piece of shit. Obviously, you could just cast the open spell. Well, not obviously, but you could just cast an open spell to open this door. So the north or the south? It's here. I mean, I could even cast my trash open spell. And possibly succeed. 1+1 per 2 levels? I got a lot of levels. Even have like an item that also does an open spell too. Do you die if you fall in the void? Not necessarily. You might die. You might as well also just be stuck. Nothing is funny. Nothing is that funny. Not today, no. There's certainly been crashes, though. That's good. Fire God. Time to do some fire God. Is it a fire? Is it a god? Section 4, it's fire God. Fire Daedra, fire Daedra. Gotta be a fucking bag of dicks. No time for your shit. Go to hell, fucking fire Daedra. Alright. I feel better now. Those even killed her, silly. Yes, crazy. You're welcome. I've done you a solid, man. Oh, shit. Hear me, the blind god is a jealous god. Let his true servants lift up their eyes unto him, the way will be easy, hear me. Alright, that wasn't the best one to flip. Why don't we just spin them all? That's actually not a good idea, don't spin them all. supposed to click on the ones who are, like, looking at him. Hey, Sheogorath. How's it going? And I'm like, fuck it, just click on them all. Some of them do dickish things to you, which is funny. It's funny. I love how I decided to save over my same section for CD. You're supposed to click on the ones who look away from him. Because, like, all of them are supposed to, like, look at him because he's, like, the jealous god. Shit, man, memory is hard. Obviously, there's an entire other path that we need to go down. But it's going to be hard to do that while we're levitating. So let's just click on all the skulls. Okay, guys? Let's do it. It's gonna be our pro strat. Game's like, alright, go ahead and be a dumb shit. Get wrecked, nerd. Hello. Now you're here. You are here. Son of a bitch. Now I have to levitate again. Now, eventually they stopped spinning, too, which is great. And by great, I mean terrible. It can just confuse you, because you're like, which ones have I clicked? This one's the last one I haven't clicked. And it teleports you back here. Okay. So now that we've clicked on every single skull, surely the way will be forward. We've endured all the challenges. Feeling brave tonight? How brave? Brave enough to do battle with hideous monsters? Hmm? It's not open! Brave enough to sneak around dank castles in the dark and chance being the next victim of a dragon strike. Sheogorath, let me in. Let me in. Ah, at last. I was beginning to think you wouldn't get this far. A dreary place, don't you agree? And guarded by a pompous upstart. He's no more a god than I am. Well, carry on. We will meet again soon, unless you are not as foolhardy as you appear. This is Sheogorath, one of the Daedric princes. You can certainly end up doing a quest for him. As a matter of fact, anytime you go on a summoning day and try to summon someone else, he has a 5% chance of appearing. Like, assa! Anywho. Sheogorath, I may have made a terrible mistake. He's like, oh yes. Yes, you have. It's great. It's great. It's a great day. Happy to be alive today. I cannot control where I look whenever I slow fall, by the way, folks. It just happens. Can I climb lava? Let's not find out. It's just a wall, so I should have no trouble climbing it. But I've had plenty of trouble climbing this character already in this run. Hear me. The blind god is a jealous god. Let his true servants lift up their eyes unto him, and the way will be easy. Lift up your eyes, bro. Alright, that's it. That's all we're doing. Cast a warm glow on my face. I see that in the webcam down there. That's good. Let's summon a fire Daedra. I can't say I was expecting that. What if I click on this one? That one's wrong. Let's load. I love how this happens. How I can't fucking remember this shit. I think they stopped spinning. Probably with the load they stopped spinning. Okay. Levitate's going again. What's angering me is how I did this quicker in the Linguist run that ended 3 weeks ago than I'm doing this right now. I wonder if now that I've clicked on all the skulls, it's fucking with the game. Why did I save here? No. We'll spin this one. Is there another skull up there for this section? Maybe not. I saw one that I wanted to spin, but without levitate, I can't accurately fall down on top of it. Oh, sure, there's danger in going into a menu while you're on an elevator. It's the little old Grimith. Alright, that was my bad. I can see that one. I can see that one. That was my bad. No, it didn't feel like it. I certainly did clip a little bit. But if I just go slower, surely everything will be fine. This fucking thing takes too long to get to. No, we don't even have to cast our magic bullshit. Can I get the skull right on the first try again? No. Second try, didn't die. So the two I ended up clicking up on there, well, besides the intro skull in the last section, were the two who were just straight looking at the fire god. Which it does say that all who were looking at the fucking fire god, just click on them and the path will be revealed. This is why I hate puzzle games. It's not even that much of a fucking puzzle, you'd think. And yet somehow, every time Grimith gets to that section, it feels like it's a new fucking learning experience for him. Dies just as easily as Silver Surfer does. Can I get away with not casting Levitate? Cool. Shit, I'll have to cast it anyway. Huh, that jump carried me a bit further than I anticipated. I know, right? God damn it. This is my bad. Oh, shit. Levitate. I choose you. Hey. Wait. Alright. That's not open. I think we need to open that. What if I try to sequence break? I don't even talk to Sheogorath. Hmm. I can't move? This game. You have phased me into a wall thing. I am now outside of the wall thing. I don't know about expert speedrunning tactics. But we did just pretty much tell Sheogorath on his crossbow to get fucked. Alright. Okay, Sheogorath just told us to get fucked. Because Alt F11 wasn't fixing that. Oh, shit. This game. No, I said we're sequence breaking you, and that's final. Drink me. Fuck you, fuck your platform. We're still doing the sword, though. Time for me to levitate down manually.
I wanted to show off one of the cool vampires in the pits too. Well, I don't know about cool.
Elevators, could you move any fucking quicker, please? I'd have mana burn to kill myself if that were still in that Magic the Gathering. I know, then you have to collect like fucking 5 or 6 more of these depending on which Sonic you're playing. Dr. Robotnik fucking comes in, takes it. What the fuck? Hi. Not so fast, Mewsain Bolt. Don't you want to see the result of your handiwork? Look now into the Book of Time, the Time. Read upon its pages the history of what shall pass within the next few days. Read fate that shall be recorded upon the Elder Scrolls.
Centuries of undead sleep are shaken off, rousing the Underking. No mortal force can stop his fateful reunion with the ghost of his heart, and he joins with it in an all-consuming fiery embrace, and for just one moment, his flesh and blood, then blessed death is granted to Kairos after his battle mage.
The work is done, Mewsain Bolt. The world is no longer as it once was. Such is the way of things. Oh, and if you tell my lich statue to shut up, as I've been trying to convey to you in my insanity, the door to my chamber will open. More painful run to the final dungeon than what we had 3 weeks ago. But all the same, that is the story of Mewsain Bolt. King of Kings. There you go. Although I am getting tired of those sounds, so let's transform back. I know, right? She's like, I understand insanity very well. So, Mewsain Bolt. I should probably put that back on. Let's put on the wrap. Yeah, put on the wrap. Witness greatness. Lowly catnip farmer. Great at dodging, running, and stealth. You'll notice that dodging didn't go that high. It typically doesn't during any of my games, because as it turns out, I don't threaten to get hit a whole lot. Now, dodging the skill, as is noted in the instruction manual, does actually govern whether you're threatening to be hit by anything. That's an attack or a spell. Dodge has a chance of, like, bailing you out from that. But when you move as fast as Mewsain does, and you kill as fast as Mewsain does, dodging never really sees a whole lot of use. It's an unfortunate primary skill to have. Like, in one sense it's cool to have it that high, but on the other hand, it doesn't, like... it doesn't really go up unless you actively get hit. Which you tend to try to avoid. Yes, handsome fella. Axe climbing mercantile. We didn't do a whole lot with an axe. When you have equipment as high level as Mewsain did, you can really hit anyone with anything. Climbing, didn't do too much of that well. Mercantile. Minor skills, we jumped around a whole lot. Miscellaneous skills, quite a bit. As I noted, towards the start of the session, this character is pretty damn powerful, and that would be why I hadn't done a lycanthrope run recorded until now, and why I don't have much of an interest in doing them. The increase is to various physical attributes makes doing dungeon runs a bit easier, and this guy ended up being level 18 with 290 hit points. We took quite a bit. Of course, there are some things you just can't defeat, like Daggerfall bugs and glitches. You can only hope to contain them. Mewsain Bolt here doesn't have as exciting or wondrous of an end story as Ursilia did. Because Mewsain didn't really want a whole lot in life. He was going out on an adventure, he got sucked into this whole vortex of helping out the Emperor. He went to the Iliac Bay. He nearly died a bunch of times. He had dreams about dying a bunch of times. Dungeon design in the Iliac Bay doesn't make a fucking lick of sense compared to elsewhere. But he has some fortune with him. Quite a fortune. As a matter of fact, if we can get off of Nulfaga's chair here, I think it's worth checking just how much money we end up retiring with. And for that, I suppose we can, one final time, visit Daggerfall. Yes, the free heal we get from being a werewolf, pretty damn useful too. Yeah, that's why the magic was blue. I have a Necromancer's amulet here that's fortifying it. It's almost new now. It also has a Troll's Blood power that we never ended up invoking, which regenerates your health over time. Or regenerating. I suppose one final jump would be fitting, right? One last jump, one final hurrah. If the game does crash at this point, though, or I get myself stuck, then that'll just be the end. It'd be cool to see how much money we retire with, though. Not bad, not bad, not the worst. Pawn shops aren't going to be open right now, so let's go sleep in a tavern. Something this character did not have much problems with either was fatigue. At 200 fatigue. Really fine on that regard. Like, for him, like, an athleticism, like, advantage, which would, like, lower your fatigue loss, would be a waste. Again, he didn't have any advantages by default. That immunity to disease comes from being a lycanthrope. Forbidden plate armor, all 4 shield types, low tolerance to paralysis, and low tolerance to poison. Yes, she did. She had very low fatigue. Give me a room. Love this song too much. Alright, and rather than finding a Rusty Relic's pawn shop, I don't think Mewsain really cares. I think he's done. He's done with this region. So he'll go to the incense place to sell, which is not the best place to sell, but, like, he's typically like a haggler. He just wants to go home. Like, he's done. Like, no more, please. We're done here. And so he sold his armor. And many of his items. Keeping a few things for just-in-case purposes, you understand. After all, having some bling is pretty cool, right? But these bracers, let's get rid of them. And this mark we'll get rid of. Parchment. We'll take that back. He wants to keep his notes, too. Yes, the Helmet of Salvation. We'll be keeping that. And thus, don't think I have any money stashed away in the bank here. I can go check. But I'm pretty sure I've been holding on to all the cash. He paid off his debts. He consorted with a Daedric prince. He became a werewolf, fully in control of his urges, though. Not cursed. It was just nearly. We ended up paying it off. Nah, yeah, we're fine. Debt's clear. He became a simple... there's a few other items. I don't feel like selling them. A simple... masked traveler to hide his identity. With a Daedric heart in his hands. He's got a wrap on. He's got a towel. I do actually like this look, though. The mysterious Mewsain Bolt. You know, basically just everyone lost track of him. Returning to his home of elsewhere, where he used his great fortune and immense luck and really so many other wonderful things to carve out a name for himself. Really, he adopted a new name. Mueller Greenleaf. Which I think was Lethal's suggestion. Mewsain Bolt had too much history attached to it. Had to move on, you know? A catnip farming empire that stood the test of time. There were none who were stronger, more agile, more durable, quicker, luckier, or intelligent than this man. Yes, we did, Lethal. We did. We finished our lore section. We finished building an aftermath. The story of this wonderful Khajiit werewolf who sold most of his possessions and returned to elsewhere. How many golds? That many golds. And, you know, if he ever fell up on hard times, he could sell a few other things, or really, he could just go punch money out of something. Alright. I like it. I like it. It's good. We sat in Nulfaga's chair. Solar possessions. Hopped aboard our own ship that we sailed under our own power somehow, and we returned back home to elsewhere. Where is elsewhere? Elsewhere, you know. Somewhere else. That's fair. There is a I think one of the oaths, like the swears that they say in Daggerfall, not in this particular region, but I think somewhere in Hammerfell, is like, by the sands of elsewhere. I'm almost tempted to go looking for that, but I think we're good. There's also a Khajiit ring that you could get from one of the Daedric princes for like a Daedric quest, but that gives you like the feat of Notorgo. This character does not even remotely need that. You know, Zombie, Mewsain never stole from a store once. I think his empire that he builds of Catnip is 100% legit. You know, he adopts like a new name. You know, he changes his identity. He buys a new face. Like the best that illusory magic can buy, he gets a new face. That's great. It's great. You know, he'll die, he'll probably die, not while he's young, but maybe in like a middle age. He goes on one last catnip trip and it kills him. Or he goes on like the greatest expedition ever and no one hears from him again. Mewsain Bolt lives fast, dies young. I think so. Not as famous as Ursilia was, but of course not, because Ursilia got fame from the King of Worms. I think that about does it. Yes, the Hircine Ring, and the Necromancer's Amulet, and a few other magical trinkets and knickknacks, along with a fortune in money, and he can earn more money if need be, but I don't think he'll need to. He's very gifted and capable, as we have seen. And, I mean, should anyone really give him sass, he'll just show him those abs. And, problem solved. As it turns out, no human could ever end up defeating Mewsain Bolt anyway, because they all only use iron or steel weapons. Considering his low tolerance to paralysis, it might just end up being that he falls into a coma for the rest of his life. He overdoses on so many fucking drugs, he's like, just lays there fucking catatonic. Oh, shit. That's a great fucking mental image. Alright. I think that ends the story of Mewsain Bolt. This ended up being a funny, amusing mishmash of a few different ideas, and obviously people desiring to see a lycanthropy run. I had fun. Mewsain Bolt had quite a few powers and capabilities that I feel demonstrated. I've said this before a few times, again though, why I've not been too eager to show off a lycanthropy run. They're very powerful. They're less powerful if you don't get the Hircine ring, of course, but, like, if you're gonna be a lycanthrope, fucking, you get that fucking ring. Without the ring, you can't really you can't just constantly, like, transform at a whim. And, you know, you might have to pick apart some people. Then, when the full moon comes, you might be involuntarily transformed. But just do a Daedric Prince a solid, and you'll be fine. Yes, the next run of Daggerfall will begin tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, basically in 24 hours from now. And I have put some thought into that one. Character creation itself will be an experience. I've put as much thought and consideration into the next character as I have for some role-playing characters I've built. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think it'll be interesting and entertaining. Still don't think it can match the challenge of Ursilia, but I think it'll be fun all the same. Do I have any sly hints? I have one. It's an oblique hint, but I do have one. Give me a moment. Before I share the one oblique hint, what the fuck is the sound doing here? You can't hear it. The birds have lost their shit as I turn the sound all the way down. It's great. Hello. You've reached almost broadcast end. Yeah, I know, right? It's terrifying. Are you birds done? What a great experience, Daggerfall. Once again, you have struck us. They won't even stop. Stop. Right. So the next character has a theme based in part on the game that this music is from. Good night, local recording.